Wave to you.
No thumbs up, mate.
We're there.
Yeah. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the Bell Hotel in Thetford for the another edition of Council Watch. I believe we've got somebody very important watching on the camera live tonight. Is it John Conte or is it the lookalike? Good evening, Santa. How are you?
Hi, I'm all right.
We've got a chair over there in the corner.
Okay, thank you.
Nice rosette there.
Thank you.
Flying flag. No, we'll just do the preliminaries then. We've got everybody who's willing to be counted tonight is sitting down. Thanks very much. We've got a roll call already taken, and as yet we still haven't got any sort of oath. That'll get tied up at a bigger level later date. Declarations of any disclosable pecuniary interests. Anybody seeing anything on the agenda that they might be involved in and making money out of? That'll probably be you. Yeah. Apologies for absence. We've only got one apology as usual.
Yes.
Mr. Sean Stevens is doing his usual. Yeah, he can't make it again.
I wonder why he's on this council.
Rhubarb.
Yeah.
Can we ask
Oh,
him?
oh, we've got someone coming in. Is it? No, sorry.
Great back.
Yeah, he's asked if we can put the meeting forward, but I said we can't, so that's it. Minutes, if anybody wants to see the minutes, I have a hard copy which Jen produces and gets to us, and we've also got copies on LSB Film Productions of what's gone on, so you can check anything that we do there. And the first thing that I've got down is acoustics on public questions. I just want to say well done to Jeff, because I was sitting in Skiathos watching the meeting last month. I thought it was absolutely fantastic, and it was great. It was quite funny to be a member of the audience. The only thing I'd say though, as a member of the audience listening, sometimes it was loud and we had clarity, and sometimes when the mics weren't on, it was like Bob, you were quite hard to be heard first,
Right.
and then the second half I could hear everything you were saying. But we couldn't hear what the public was saying though. When the public were asking a question, and I thought,
How about handing the public a mic?
that's what I thought, yeah.
There is a mic set up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We just have to be a little bit more
Yeah.
pushy and getting getting because I could hear a murmuring in the background, and I thought, what are they saying? And then I could hear you lot talking about it, and I was trying to backtrack on what the question was based on how you answered it.
Yeah.
So I just thought for the audience, if especially when we go back into the bigger room, because we can't go in a bigger room tonight because there's a function on. I think we need to push, what do you think, push an audience to the mic more,
Yeah.
so that the public on the camera can hear.
Yeah.
I think we did that first couple of meetings before.
Well,
didn't we?
there is always mic set up
Yeah,
there, but
yeah.
have to make them aware.
Yeah.
No, but
That's all right.
thanks very much.
I'm glad you enjoyed yourself.
No, I did have a giggle at all the.
I was waiting for the present.
I did have a giggle at all the jokes you were having.
Yeah.
There was, I was laughing.
He's going to bring you back a sombrero.
That's it, yeah.
Well, the next thing on the agenda, though, there's been a few points mentioned about we go over stuff. So I've misspelt on the because I've rushed it. I've misspelt on the reason for the council watch. Overview why we formed, what we're doing, on the future. You know, my point is we're going to keep going over stuff because that stuff is very important in the town.
Yeah, the reason we have to keep going over stuff is because the council keep ignoring us.
Yes.
That's basically it.
We're sort of at that point where we haven't got the public backing to push that energy with that poll. That's the thing as well. We have the people there that will help push that poll to the next one.
Yeah.
No, the thing at least it's showing that how the true colours of the council anyway, because each time they just, no, it doesn't matter what question it is, whether we ask it or other members of the public ask a question, they're not getting the answers, so, you know, it's...
Well, that's, we're going to be going into that in the next agenda item, but that's my thought. I mean, we're not actually professionals, are we? I've had a little bit of and Dennis has been on the council before, but you know, this body that we've set up, there's no hard and fast rules. We don't actually know where we're going, and we're just playing it off the cuff as things happen.
You know, you're going to have to repeat things a lot because council doesn't get anything done for takes them forever to get something finished, so, we've got to keep challenging their
Yeah.
ways.
Yeah,
The only
yeah,
thing.
it's backing them into a corner, isn't it?
Yeah,
It reaches a point where they've got to address. Yeah,
Do you have a Facebook for your group?
Well, not at the minute, no.
Maybe that would be good, because then you can, when you have a meeting, you
Yeah.
can put it on and get people to, join it.
We'll put that to the media experts, Santa.
No, because it's just like Thetford Forum, they got 30K in
Yeah.
it, so all that needs to come into your group.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
I mean, the videos do get shared on the forums.
So that's one good way.
Yeah.
That's how I was trying to find out from Dennis when was your meeting, because I wanted to put it on the other Thetford group, the one with small t.
yeah.
They are not label controlled, so,
Yeah.
so I wanted to, but I didn't have the time.
Yeah,
They
I
just
stuck
called
your
me.
notification on there about this meeting. Yeah.
Yeah.
See, because I don't do Facebook, don't understand it. I mean,
Yeah.
do we need a standalone
Why not?
council?
It will be very helpful.
Yeah,
believe
why
me.
not?
We've got a long way.
Present, it will be very helpful, believe me.
It's good to have another site that can get shut down.
Yeah.
And I've got a Twitter expert, I can ask her to do it for you as well. She's doing for Toby McKenzie right now for the Reform Party.
All right, so if we see you getting that set up, Santa, you'll be happy with that, yeah?
And, yeah, I could ask my husband.
Well, if not, I'll Bob, would we? I mean, because you're.
No, we got to help each other, that's it.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
suppose so. But we've got to pick someone who's not going to get banned too often.
well, out of this one,
And we're gonna go for it.
We could always buy a silicone Bill Gates mask.
No, so again, because I don't fully understand the thing, you need somebody front of house to set.
So you need an admin.
Yeah, and me
Yeah.
for the group, in it, me.
yeah, you need an admin
You can
person.
make different people.
Like Terry's
We
admin
can
for
always
Thetford
get
Forum.
somebody, yeah.
You need
we can
somebody.
ask.
Okay, so if we put down then, unofficially after the meeting's finished, we'll look into that more and come up with a plan, yeah?
Yeah, we'll set one up.
No, it's more like, when you attend, you take pictures and then just put whatever you are having, the minutes and, your meeting onto it. So that, or even if you have any old ones, you want to put it onto it, any pictures, anything.
Yeah, open and unbiased, obviously you've got Terry running the executive forum, so
Yeah.
that's controlled obviously.
Yeah, that is controlled, yeah, but and they've got
Massively.
30K in it.
But would you all agree at the minute on that agenda item, we don't have to do anything drastic?
No.
No.
Just keep pushing the way we are at the
Yeah,
minute.
yeah, we'll do
And
that.
just try and keep it fresh from what we say and
Yeah.
But
Can't we
entertainment
things, yeah.
entertainment reasons, it isn't maybe what people want to see, but with presence is there, and that's at least the main thing.
More subjects for on notice for.
say again.
More subjects to give them notice for.
Yeah, well,
Keep drumming
As
and
many as
digging them in.
possible. That's right.
well, we need to follow up the notices we've got as well at the minute, which is something we're going to have to look into. So, okay, so the next agenda item then is the ongoing conduct of the main Thetford Council.
Oh,
Okay, and,
Jesus.
we've got a couple of points up there. I'll just go through them all. They're all up to grab. Thetford Town Council meeting now has permanent security.
Yeah.
Security guards from Force 8. Funny because it's quite funny because the lad who runs Force 8 Clark's a mate of mine.
But the thing is that if them having to have security there, that's so detrimental to the council,
Well,
that they have to be so
Yeah.
careful that they need security. I mean, nobody's ever been violent from here or anything.
No.
All you're doing is expressing your opinion.
Well, what I found really amusing at the last council meeting is how the security guards were absolutely flabbergasted at how the council were conducting themselves.
Conducting themselves, yeah.
It's unbelievable.
Yeah, the council were more aggressive to
Yeah.
you.
Yeah.
Yeah, they get,
And
definitely
Jeff,
got confidence boost, don't they?
That's right, yeah.
Definitely
Yeah.
got confidence boost.
Did I miss the best one last week? Yes.
Yeah, it was good.
Right, for anybody who's watching what happened at the council meeting last week is, Bob, well, we've got it here. I'll just go through these points and we'll back it all together. There's been no apology from the council again to the public about recent events and the way we've been treated, especially through the press.
Oh, yes, I read that.
Yeah. 3 minutes are allocated now, within the 15 minutes questions, they've got the 3 minutes are allocated to the public for what should be a preamble into a question. However, what we found out last week is that the chair, the councillors and the clerk do not understand the procedure relating to this. Now, the idea is you've got 3 minutes, and if you look at what happens all over the country in the other councils, people make a preamble statement to set up the question. Now, if they go over the 3 minutes, the councillors start having a go, you've got to fight for your extra time. But as long as you're in those 3 minutes, it's standard procedure, 3 minutes ending in a question. However, not here, Bob, do you want to?
Well, that's the bit, this is the council's agenda, and it actually states on there a 15-minute open forum.
Yes.
Open forum. It doesn't say you can't have to go in there and ask a question straight away. And what happened with myself is that because the council had been put on notice previously about the Pfizer smoking gun document, and which they ignored. That was back in January of 22. Now they completely ignored that, and my preamble was setting the scene for, you've ignored our warnings once, don't ignore them again. I didn't even get on, well, I just about started the second page into my timed 3 minutes, and they started to interrupt. And it was like, right, well, we don't want to hear what you've got to say, get to your question. Well, at the end of the day, I can go to 2 minutes and 59 seconds before I ask my question. I can play the banjo if I want for 2 minutes and 59 seconds, and in the last second I can that's as far as I take it, and then I can ask my question. But because of the constant interruptions, I never actually got to make the points that I wanted to make. So one other big thing that came out of it was because of the constant interruptions, you lose your thread. And I actually made a false statement about a Freedom of Information request. I blurted out that Chris Brooks had put an FOI in, and he hadn't. It was a guy called Chris, but because you're in that moment, and we're not professional speakers.
It's happy for you to use his surname,
Yeah. So, but because we're not professional speakers, of course we trip up and so on and so on, which is why we have these, this is why we have notes. And if you're constantly being interrupted by the council and you can't get your point across, then it's no wonder the public are getting agitated.
But it's obvious from their reaction that you're getting to them because that's why they're interrupting you.
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
Well, the point that I did finally get across was very detrimental to them actually, because they declared a climate crisis about 3 or 4 months ago and said that they were following guidelines from Friends of the Earth. Well, in this Freedom of Information that this Chris had received a reply to, they're now saying that they're following the guidance of the National Association of Local Councils. This organisation that they all sit under has advised the local councils to declare a climate crisis. Well, I got hold of these people, and guess what? They can't give you any information about a climate crisis.
Yeah, I was going to say, that's not what they normally do. They don't
Yeah.
instruct council to
They
do something, they give you guidance.
guidance.
Yeah.
Yeah. So they've guided the council into declaring this crisis, but they haven't actually got any evidence of their own to back.
To back the crisis.
Yeah. And the Thetford Council have just gone, oh, all right then.
Yeah.
Which leads me to the question that I wanted to ask them tonight. Where's your evidence?
Yeah, again.
But you see, the problem with that is because they're not following the procedure, which is the 3 minute preamble including the question, where you would have got that across, that completely went because they kept on interrupting you. Now, two other things actually come out from that as well. One is we couldn't understand the chair. I think it was you, sir, that said. Now, I've known the chair for a long time, and she's a very, very hard lady to understand. When she's talking, she needs to slow right down and be clear, because I don't think anybody could understand that.
especially with the echo.
Yeah, so we're going to have to put something in writing or get a question out about that, because the public just can't comprehend what she's saying, you know.
Can I just come in on that?
Yes.
Take a mic so that like everyone can hear you.
But now in these council meetings, even in King's House, they're always, and Denter backs up on this, looking at one another. They never look at the group of people they're representing. So really what you need is a semicircle so councils can actually look at the people that are asking questions. Now, about the 3-minute rule, and I accept what you're saying about the 3-minute rule, Brecon County Council, Norfolk County Council have all got speaker timers. So you've got the yellow and the red and an amber. So you know when you're started, when it goes to amber, you know you've got 1 minute left, and when it's red, your time is up.
Yeah, and you finish it quick.
That sort of system is quite easy to set up.
Yeah.
And that's what Thetford Town Council needs, so that you get your point over, and you know what time you've got to get that question in.
Yeah.
When your red light's on, that's it, you've had it.
Yeah.
Could we write a letter to the Town Council requesting clarity from the chairman, or the mayor at the time, and also that they allow us to have the 3 minutes uninterrupted?
Yes.
From what I gather, every time the chairman's interrupting us, that breaks the whole thing up. So we need to write and say, you know, 3 minutes is very limiting, so can it be done without interruptions? And that's what we need to do.
Because
Isn't there like an
they're including the interruptions.
Yeah,
in the
3 minutes. Of course they are, yeah.
Isn't there like an oddbundsman or whatever it's called for the council where you can
Yeah.
complain?
Yeah, that's it. I was going to say, I'm going to get in touch with them and they'll, I think what, it's not just stupidity though, is it? It's just not ignorance.
No, it's a deliberate act somewhere.
No, it just made, I mean, when I first met Dennis and I became a councillor, I became a councillor because I was actually, I'd watched what had gone on in council meetings and I wanted to get involved. But when you do that research, you start to comprehend the procedure.
Yeah.
What's concerning me at the minute is that we've got a gang of people on the council that have got no idea about procedure,
No.
which doesn't bode well. And you've also got B, members of the council who don't want to listen to us anyway.
No.
And they're using that lack of following procedure not to listen to what we're being. So we've got like two halves of a problem, if that makes sense, Dennis, you know. So we've got an education problem and also a force problem to make sure that they stick to the procedure. So I think speaking to the ombudsman, speaking to NALC, getting in touch with NALC,
Yeah, now could be a good one to do.
I'm even looking putting another complaint into standards just to keep a bit of pressure on, not that standards ever come back.
Yeah, it'd be standard.
And even about the quality of the room, I think they just have it there because you can't hear anything, can you?
But
The
saving money.
acoustics is rubbish. Is that all it is? That's why it's not the kind
King's
of...
House was great, but they had to pay money to have meetings in King's House. So they then stopped having meetings in King's House, and because the council owns the Guildhall and the Carnegie rooms, they can have meetings without having to pay for them.
Well, the Carnegie room would be better than the Guildhall though. So
Of
why
course
they-
it would, the
But they're
Guildhall is
obviously not using the Carnegie purely because the acoustics rubbish in the Guildhall, so we can't hear them properly.
I asked why the meeting wasn't at the Carnegie, and I was told that the Carnegie at the time was rented out at the time, so they had to move it to the Guildhall in order to, because they were making revenue off it.
Well, they had the blood transfusion in people at one time, two months ago, but I don't think they've had anything in the past, month or two since.
I was told they had, but, you know.
Well, we know.
Perhaps we
what
need
that,
to investigate that next meeting.
Yeah.
We're going to see who's in there.
You surely don't believe that, Dennis, do you?
Well, there's still a few more points up on that. From the point of ignorance, some of those new councillors who haven't watched any council meetings anywhere else don't have an understanding of the 3 minutes is a preamble and a question. So we need to do that bit of education piece. Now, on the other bit of the ignoring by the more established councillors, and I've said it before, I know when I was a councillor, and I'm not just saying it because when Dennis was here, Dennis would stand up and if he had a point, he would speak to the public. You always,
Yeah,
if you had to, you would get up and you would speak to the public.
You address the public,
Yeah, we address the public. What I noticed when I was there is the unwillingness to speak and debate with the public.
Yeah.
And we've got that massively at the minute. When they have the meeting, they are not addressing. I think the idea of getting to the semicircle as well is great.
Yeah, they're viewing it as a private club, aren't
As a
they?
private club, yeah.
And I also think they should ban the use of mobile phones during the meetings. So, yeah, constantly on his phone.
Well, that chap there, what was he doing when I was trying to speak?
Literally giving it this shift phone, come and sit down.
That's
The conduct is unbelievable.
It's very, very poor.
That's the other point I want to bring up for the public and anybody who didn't see it. When Bob was trying to get his point across and the 3 minutes had been denied to him, he then started in an aggressive manner being shouted at by Councillor Land. And I had to get up and say to a security guard, that is threatening behaviour from a member of the council to a member of the public. And the security guard did acknowledge that. So the security guard acknowledged that you were being...
Yeah, and that's what I said, you know, at the start of this, I couldn't believe, it was great for the two security guards to be absolutely flabbergasted at what they were seeing. You know, they were, I'm sure they were quite happily sitting on our bench.
Yeah.
You know?
That just shows they want us there, you know.
See, if I was a security bloke, I'd have removed the barriers.
Well, let's face it, Mr. Lang, would he have been the way he is?
No.
No,
You know.
Well, just...
confidence boost.
This is where I just want to go on with. This ties back to the last agenda item where somebody said we go over old ground. We've got to go over old ground because when you look at what's just been said there, part of Bob's preamble was when Jeff gave out the information on Pfizer trying to hide the trials on the jab for 75 years. And for those who don't realise, the judge turned around and said, no, it's coming out now. And basically the information for those that watched was damning, and it showed how dangerous the jab was because it was completely untested, and that wasn't pushed properly through the media. Now, we got that information, and Jeff actually read the information out and made that available to everybody on the council in January 22.
I handed them.
Yeah.
I still got my copy.
Yeah.
Now, there was no acknowledgement by the council on the night, and then basically what happened then is the council will then put on notice for the future of their potential part from a damages point of view. Now, what's happening at the minute is the country's starting to wait. You've already got AstraZeneca has been completely taken off all over the world. People are starting to wake up now to the damage, and people are starting to wake up to the lack of information that they had. Now, as that keeps rolling faster and faster down the road, things like the notice that we put in 22 will then start to come into play. So that is the enduring thing from the jab and the Pfizer rolling into the other ones. Now, the link to what Bob's doing with the climate crisis, and I got involved and put them on notice, that's going to come rolling down the line eventually when businesses start to get damaged. So we have to keep putting the pressure on for that, reminding them about it and remind them that they're not doing due diligence and they're not showing the public any of their data. So that is the connection between us doing the same thing again, is to keep that pressure on. Does that make sense?
Yeah, absolutely. They've got no, I don't think they've got any understanding that their actions, they think they're protected by this council bubble that they're in, but their actions are their own actions. And as I've said many times, previously they could have said, look, we didn't know. If you don't know something, you don't know something, and we're not all world experts on everything. But what they're doing now is they're going from this realm of nescience, this realm of not knowing, into the realms of now they do know, and it's complete and utter willful ignorance that they are now involved in. And they've got no idea of the weight of these notices, and the strength that they carry in terms of legality and their own complicity, if that's a word, in future developments. You know, like Mark said, if businesses start going down or people's, let's take the 20, 30 grand that they're going to spend on this climate crisis. That's money coming out of the town's pocket, people's pocket. And they've got no idea that this 20 or 30 grand they are actually responsible for in their own private capacity further down the line.
Just to add on the notices that we're talking about, because I mentioned when I got up about the sexualisation of children. Yeah, I was just going to touch on this because of the point made. You know, I'd done that bit the month before, so my question was just reiterating what I'd done. I'd sent them out a copy of the UNESCO and WHO document, which the Safe Schools Alliance UK looked at and told them really that it needs to be massively amended. It came out in 2009, no safeguarding, full of child abuse, the one that all the schools are using up and down the country and around the world. So my question was to them, we just need to set up, I know we've got it here a bit later, a Norfolk County Council meeting. Now obviously there was to and fro in because the deputy just didn't want to entertain it, whereas last year when we had that meeting with the Jane James and that, you know, when everyone came out, like the 20-minute neighbours and that, she was able to set up a meeting for us in the Carnegie, which is what we done. But when I addressed it to Terry Jeremy, his response was like that, he just turned away like that. Just didn't want to know. I said, out of respect, Terry, can you just give us an
Let's
answer?
face it, Terry Jeremy doesn't want any feathers ruffled at the moment with an election coming up.
Exactly.
He's not going to incriminate himself
Exactly.
at all.
No.
So
yeah.
that's a dereliction of his duty
That's right.
in that room at that time,
Yeah.
isn't it?
Yeah, exactly.
Well, what concerns me is, and the members of the public in here tonight can see, we're getting bigger crowds at the town council meeting. There's more, would you agree, Dennis? There's more questions than we ever had. And people are more vociferous in what they're saying because they want answers to questions. Now, the reason why there's a lot of noise, I mean, I'm fed up being called a rabble. The police know we're not a rabble. I've spoke to the police. The police will not turn up because we're not doing anything wrong. The problem is the comprehension of the councillors thinking they can shut us up. And because we won't shut up, that is where it's becoming feisty. Now,
They're not used to being challenged at all. I mean, I did 13 years on the town council, and the amount of times we were challenged by the public was very limited because the public never bothered turning up unless it was for a planning issue or something. And then you got it. So what you're doing is what everybody should be doing, is challenging your local councillors, and they need to give the answers. I mean, you've been trying for how long now?
3, 4 months,
Yeah, the answers.
and still nothing.
at one point, looking back retrospectively, if we were still there now as councillors with what's going on at the council. Now, what I said at the end of the meeting last week is I said there is no leadership of this council. I like to think that we would have stood up and shown leadership and spoke with the public and said, look, we haven't got the answers tonight, but we will come back to you with something. And we would have provided two-way dialogue between the councillors and the public. We would have done that with it. Now, that's not happening. Now, I challenged Terry the other night because I said to him, if you can't show leadership and grip at a town council level, how the hell are you going to do it as an MP at the higher level?
Exactly.
And again, we didn't get any answer. But that's my main point, is there's no leadership coming whatsoever from the councillors.
But the other thing is the acting town clerk, he's an employee of the council, isn't he?
Yes.
Right? He felt so I've sent him 4 pieces of information now, and the last piece of information I said, can you share this out amongst all the councillors? On the night I said, how many of you received this information, this little documentary? None of them. So even the town clerk, the man who's employed to do that kind of work, is dismissing information that we're putting across.
Like, the only comeback on that one I would say to you, Bob, I do agree with you, is he's the acting town clerk. So I don't think he's done the full training. Keep me straight here, Dennis. I don't think he's been down and done all the training, has he?
We put him through his basic silts, which is the
Right, so he does know.
basic level of training for it. And I don't think he's done the advanced yet.
But he should, but with the training he has had,
He
see,
should.
what you found the town clerk, you spend a lot of money on your town clerk at the council level to go away and get a lot of
Common purpose training.
well, we don't say
Very good.
no, but they have to get a lot of ticks in the box to look after big budgets, you know, because when you get a novice councillor in, the idea is that the continuity comes from the clerk. Now what I've noticed in is the civil service, you've got to be very careful, because as your councillors, your MPs come in and hoo-hoo around and get drunk, the continuity supplied by the civil service, and it turns out the civil service then starts to run everything. You know, so that's where you've got to be very, very careful. But he should be providing some sort of continuity for those new councillors. But it should be coming off the established councillors, like Terry and Carla. You know, the leadership should be coming from them.
It's, all councillors are equal, with the exception of the chair, because they have to chair the meeting, but they have a very limited extra powers. And so, when I first joined the council, that's before you, I was told by the senior quote, senior councillors, to sit there for 2 years, not say a word, and just vote which you can. But that didn't quite go well with me and my group. And I basically said to them, I was elected by the people the same as you. That's it, you know, and we got on with it.
But that's leadership. What you're showing here is leader. Look, I'm in here for the people. If the people start talking to me, I'm going to talk back to them.
Yeah, but that's it.
Well, what we've got at the minute is nobody who's communicating.
That's a trouble. They don't want to communicate unless they can get something out of it for themselves, or vote or something. I'm not saying they're on the paper or anything.
Yeah.
But unless they can get some sort of kudos for themselves, then they're not interested.
I've just taken the order from higher up.
Okay,
Follow it down.
so what we're going to do on that agenda item then is we're going to produce some sort of document, to keep you straight, we'll produce some sort of document talking about the layout of where the councillors are, which impedes their lack of to and from with the public. The fact that they don't want to speak with confidence with the public, and we need to wrap everything up into a little and get that to know, get that to standards.
Yeah, so their job is to inform the public what they're doing and how they're spending the money. They don't want to do that. They're not doing it, they just want to ignore the public. And that's why we've got to keep going at them all the time.
And to set it up, like Jen said, in the arc, we need to, instead of this facing each other.
Or just a straight table.
Yeah, or a straight table, yeah, so they're talking to us, not to each other.
Yeah.
Not on the phones and not,
Like the way they're looking at it, because it's a big leap for politics, you know, when I listen to what the Labour contingent are saying, they're saying that because they got put in, it's their way or the highway.
Yeah.
And that we shouldn't be agitating against them because they've got the vote. But as we keep saying over and over again, you've only got 18%.
Yeah.
So what they're saying is that the 18% means that they can railroad anything through, which technically they can, but they're not happy with the silent majority fighting back. So it's my perception is that we've got to keep fighting back and we've got to keep saying things to them. And getting it getting it out there to people.
even if it's repeating the same thing, people fed up, but we need to get the point across. don't we?
Until you get an answer.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
Well, please do come and join us, people, you know.
Yeah.
More than
Strength in numbers.
Somebody did actually just put on there about leafleting about the channel to people in Thetford, so they know where they can watch it if they don't want to.
Yeah, well, I'm looking at some business card type things now, Facebook page, like Santa said, and just, you know, I think this is only going to get that as it starts to affect people.
Facebook and Twitter, or you call it X.
Yeah, so who's
X
anybody
is
in
really
Twitter?
good. X is really, really good. Yeah.
So you get a lot of us trying to keep a low profile.
Oh, you want a low profile, is it?
You know, from the establishment, we're like low profile people usually, and all of a sudden they're front and centre.
No, the thing,
You know,
sorry.
and with you, I mean, I always think I need a Twitter X, but
no, what I'm thinking is, you don't have enough people coming to your meetings.
yeah.
So that's why they are ignoring you. So if you have enough people behind you, right, they can't ignore you.
Yeah.
I mean, that's why they
That's
sorted
ideal.
the meeting out for the 20 minutes, because there was 200 people in
Yeah,
there.
oh yeah.
All
that's
going,
right.
"Whoa."
Yeah.
So you need people who are supporting you to be in the council meeting.
Yeah, so
Then they will
So we've got to look at, we'll talk about this offline and Twitter
Yeah, we've got to get the word out
Facebook
more.
and stuff like that, yeah. But has anybody else got anything on the, any Bruce about the...
Coming back on Bob, can Bob make a notice because he's asked the same question over and over again? What is the evidence?
Well, they've already been
Yeah.
put on notice for that already.
Yeah, and the other thing is I've tried to do that through freedom of information, and then what they've done is they've come back to me and said, you're now deemed as vexatious and we will not be engaging with you anymore. You know, so
Can you put one of those?
yeah, but then saying that, I've been told that 6 times for angling water. So
No, but my thoughts there, I mean, we're slightly going down the lawful rebellion route there. If the council is saying to you that you're vexatious when you're not,
yeah,
it's just a cancellation of you.
Yeah.
So I think the only thing
Asking-
you can do there is to
asking
come
a
and
question.
say,
asking a question and not getting an answer, and then having to repeat that question isn't vexatious.
No.
That is, give me an answer.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's right.
It's
That's not the problem,
consistency.
Yeah. They could wrap the whole meeting up, couldn't they? In
Maybe
5 minutes,
next week,
if
Bob,
they
yeah,
give us some answers.
Exactly.
Well, next month you'll have to give me the question and I'll get up and answer it and see if I'm vexatious.
It's totally.
Yeah.
Yeah.
yeah, I think...
I'm glad to do it.
Yeah.
Take, ask the same question that you're answering and see what their reaction is.
I think the way on that, Bob, just thinking about that is, because we've got to be short and pithy. Because if we keep going on about that too much and we've got another point to get in, within this 3-minute rule, we'll run out. But I think if somebody gets up and reminds them, you've been put on notice for this, the question is, blah, have you got the data?
Yeah, where's the answer?
And you got the answer for us?
Yeah.
And then when it doesn't come, we remind you, you're all still on notice for this.
Yeah.
So at least we've got it front and centre within the meeting for the public.
Yeah. Let's go rapid fire.
Yeah.
I've just got a proviso on that. I can't often make council meetings, but I've made the last 2. The one I've done in May, I asked a question regarding Fredericks Wood
Yes, I remember.
and was promised I'd get a reply.
Yeah.
At the meeting last week, the town clerk, acting town clerk, said there's a letter in the post. It's still not arrived.
Terrible.
If you, I take on board your national and international queries, but as far as the town's concerned, I'm more worried about the town, although I agree with what you're saying.
Yes.
I'm more worried about the town than I am.
Well, that's the thing. But even at a town level, town questions, you're not getting an answer.
Exactly, that's what I'm trying to say.
Yeah.
Frederick
I-
Woods is
I asked
directly
another-
under their control, so.
I asked another question at the last council meeting regarding Kingsfleet and the 2 entrances that have been put in that were not on the original plans. Trying to get in touch with the local councillor for Kingsfleet, who told me to get in touch with him by email, which I did, and I still haven't had a reply from him.
Mm.
So the continuity about asking questions and getting an answer to that question just seems so long-winded.
Yeah.
Where were those
It's-
trees again that you asked about?
Fredericks.
Frederick Wood.
Fredericks Wood, yeah.
That's up on Woodlands Estate.
The thing is, they've done the same before, like when they were putting up the Kilverston end of Cloverfields. They used to live right on the end of that first part of the estate. And I came out one morning and all the trees are gone. You know, trees that had protection orders on them and what have you, and the diggers just bumped into them and because they fell down. And the council completely ignored that.
They've done that with Kingsley, because there's a row of Scottish pine trees,
Yeah,
and all Scottish pine trees have got a preservation order.
yeah,
The reason they were chopped down was Councillor Brain at the time said they were a hindrance to the visibility of the main road.
mm.
That's why they've taken them down. But now they've put the 2 service roads in, there's no need to take the trees down.
Yeah.
I forgot your name again.
John Haskey,
How do you spell your surname?
HASSEY.
The thing is, John, my thoughts on this is, it's like a bit of you Bob saying that before. If somebody gets up in the next meeting and says, Mr. Hassey's been in here and in May he asked questions to the town council about the trees in Frederickswood, he's had no answer, that's 3 months ago. He came in here at the June meeting and asked questions about the extra entrances into Kingfleet. He was told people were coming back and nobody's come back to him. What do you do? So somebody else getting up and reinforcing your question and shaming them. And I think that's a strategy we've got to bring on. Somebody else get up, take over somebody's, and what we do is we shame these councillors and we just pin them down verbally.
But you have to be careful with that one, because tree preservation comes under Breckland.
No.
Even if we own the trees preservation.
But can we? But we can't engage with Breckland.
No, hang on.
I know.
Yeah, but
Only in writing.
no,
Yeah.
I think you're missing the point here. I can see the point John's
It
making.
should be an answer.
No, it's my point, yeah. I remember the big one when I was in, somebody would ask you a question and I'd get up and say, excuse me, John, good question, but unfortunately that comes under highways. Now, the man in charge of highways for Deptford is Dave Jacklin. I'll get on the phone to him tomorrow and find out what's going on. I'll make sure the town clerk and the chairman know what I'm finding out. And we'll have the information next time we come. So I'd then phone up Dave Jacklin as a town and Breckland councillor, even though he was a county, and I'd bring up the point for John and I'd come back. Now what's happening at the minute is these councillors don't know who to get in contact with at the next level, and they're not getting in contact and they're just leaving the public in limbo.
I'm sure Terry Jeremy knows who to get in contact with.
But he keeps quiet.
But Frederickswood is owned and managed by Thetford Town Council.
It is.
Yes, but what I'm saying is it's all relative. And what we're saying is nobody's coming to us at the lower level,
I understand that.
nobody's coming back at the middle level, and nobody's coming back at the higher level. Now, on the 3 levels of council, we actually, because of our past experience, we know that they can get on the phone or visit and get answers to questions for you. The fact that they're not giving you them at the town level that they're responsible for is even worse.
The problem is, if all the new ones that have come in, if they're not telling them anything, they haven't got a clue.
Now, this is my point of view. We've got a Labour majority council who are all newly in place people. I think they're being kept in the dark and fed on muck in order that they can be controlled through the whip system at the higher level. That's what my thoughts are. And that's so I'm doing things at the minute like appealing to Ron Wood. You know, because I like Ron. I've always got on with Ron. He's an independent. I'm actually getting Ron offline and explaining things to him and saying, look, you need to become more engaged. Have a look in detail what we're giving to you and start engaging with the public. So I'm now appealing to some of them, the independents. But I think from the big Labour group, I think they've got a vice-like grip on them from a higher level, from Terry Land and from Terry Jeremy.
Exactly.
And they are not going to work with us, but we've got to just keep pointing that out. Any other points from John? Are you happy with what we said there so far? Or?
I'm just hoping you're happy with what I've said.
Say again, sorry.
I'm just hoping you're happy with what I've said.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. Figure you can say what you want.
Exactly.
We're not restricted here.
No, but the thing is, John, you see, if the council were clever, they'd actually head us off at the pass on the bigger things because they're not really responsible. It would be very hard. But when they start declaring a climate crisis in the town, which they've got no right to do, and when they're spending £30,000 of our money, they're opening up a debate at that higher level. Does that make sense? So I know we bang on about the high level things, but they've brought it right down to the town level. But I think we can do the both together if we're clever enough.
But how are you going to challenge this payment for the climate crisis? That's what I'd like to know.
But once we start seeing where the money...
Yeah, but surely it's up to us to tell them where to spend that money.
In theory, yes. It should be a public decision. There should be a referendum on where do you think this money should go.
I mean, one of the things I was thinking was, why they're not putting panels on top of the Carnegie room to get electricity to feed the Carnegie room and build all.
Yeah.
So, going back to what you were just saying,
Yeah, because if they're putting
Yeah.
solar things over to do the Guildhall and the Carnegie, that just benefits the council.
But it takes the money off the electricity bill, which the council are paying.
That's what I mean, but there's no benefit to the citizens of
For that
that.
money to go elsewhere, then, couldn't
Yeah, absolutely.
No, but something like that, to me that there is just good husbandry rather than a climate crisis. We should be doing that anyway, just as common sense.
They had a survey which we paid for putting solar panels up on the Carnegie room. We couldn't do it on the Guildhall because it's a preservation order on it. But we paid money out a couple of years ago to have a survey to see about putting solar panels on the roof of the, and I don't know what's happened to it.
I'm going to sound like a long playing record here. I'm going back to, we're going back to what's it all about. Listening to John, I mean, we're sitting here in a semi-official position. We've got somebody like John coming out with good ideas. We've got you, do you know what, let's have a look at that. We're going, John will be back on that. We'll give all the public feedback on that next month.
Yeah.
But we're not getting that. We're not allowed to talk and there's no feedback. It's all a closed shop and it's all sneaky, isn't it? Which,
The unfortunate thing is, and I'll take heed on everybody that's here, I'm original London Otisville, so we moved down here in 1960. The amount of changes we've seen since I've been here is astronomical.
Yeah.
But the amount of changes that have been witnessed that have made councillors more appropriate in the town is just unreal. You know, you can't put names on people that have bettered themselves by being a town councillor. And that to me is wrong.
oh, yeah, totally agree with you. See, you can't say too much at the town because at the town level we don't get paid. So they've got you there, but the minute you go to the Bracknell level and the county level, you're paid good money.
All right,
Very good money.
council, you're not.
Now, and it's like, you know, look, I mean, I was paid as a Bracknell council for 4 years, and I didn't really. You first 4 years, you're still learning, aren't you? But I think if somebody said, "Now, would you stand?" Well, when we stood as the independents, we all agreed that if we got voted in as Bracknell councillors, we wouldn't take the money. That was our manifesto, and we were going to put the money into a pot, and it would be nice to see the councillors doing that. And you know, some people who've got a bit of business savvy coming in and doing it because they're working for the people rather than using it as a livelihood. So I can see where you're going. Too many people are using this as a livelihood.
One in particular.
I've just got, because I know we've already rolled into it. The next thing on the agenda is the declared threat of climate crisis. And I've got down there, there's still no explanation in relation
Well, I think what
to proof.
what I'm actually looking for is a de-declaration.
Yeah.
That's what, the way I see it is, the only way they can get themselves out of this mess is to de-declare it.
Yeah, that's it, yeah. What I read in the local sector booklet, briefly, I was waiting for a physio appointment, and THET 0 has been set up by to amalgamate all the local businesses to get net zero. And I couldn't believe what I was reading, and I forgot about it until this has just been here. So if there's one of them little town council books about here somewhere,
I'll tell you what, well, with Thetford Forest being one of the biggest forests in Europe, when it gets to 0,
it won't be a forest.
there ain't going to be a forest.
No, what we got to be aware of here is it's an education problem. We know that we've got the World Health Organisation, what's the other one, the business one,
WEF.
Economic Forum.
Yeah.
You know, the NGOs, all the quangos, they've got money. We all know about Gates. We all know about the other fella, Soros. They're providing money at this lower level, and that's what you're seeing there. And they're putting money in, and you've got people who are a little bit ignorant and blind, all trying to do good. And what they're doing is they're creating a momentum. We've got to make sure, I think, through education and speaking out, that we do a counter education.
The problem is the majority of people, as you said, think they're doing a good thing because they're worried about this and worried about that because they're being told.
But then think about it, they thought they were doing a good thing in 2020 and 2021.
Oh, absolutely, yeah.
And 2 years down the line now, there's a lot of people with big regrets.
Yes,
But one of the things I thought about is you all know the rebels on roundabouts.
Yeah.
Well, I think we should resurrect rebels on roundabouts. And we could all go up and do a couple of hours on a Saturday with big placards we could make ourselves, and everybody going to Tesco and moving around the town can get counter information to the propaganda. That's one thing I thought about.
That's a good idea.
And we all like to talk and be together and cuddle anyway, don't we?
Yeah.
Let's all cuddle as rebels on the roundabout.
Yeah.
The other thing, I was going to bring it down, but I didn't. I'm going to send it out on our means, as we say, on our thing. But the council watching Stockport, the lad who's heading that up, he's done a fantastic piece where he showed you he's gone in and done what you've done. They've allowed him his 3 minutes and they've allowed him to speak. But then once he's given them all the information, they've just shot him down.
Yeah.
And he's got, you're going to love it, he's got everything. And he's put it out on their version of LSB Film Productions. He's done a great bit, so what I'll do is I'll send that all out to you tomorrow. It really is good. So what we're seeing up and down the country is council watches like this are all doing their bit and trying to hold people to account, which I feel is better than nothing, you know.
And that's something for the public as well. If you haven't got a council watch in your area, get one going.
And also just stand in the parks.
Yeah.
Stand in the parks. There's one in that someone just said, is there any in Norfolk? Well, I know there's one here. I know there's one in Norwich.
Showing them where they? That's not
There's-
Oh, again, when I went to the
Yeah.
Chris, for anybody who's listening, when I went to the Great Resist conference in Swindon with Les Phillips, Thetford was invited down there to speak about how we set council watch up because we were the first one. And there was that many people from the stand in the park who then came and asked questions about how to set it up, what do you do? Well, I've just told them just to get in touch with me, us, and we'll give them help if they want, even if we just turn up for the day. And there might be a chimney in it for me. So has anybody got anything else on the climate crisis? What we just ongoing with that?
No, it's one of those things that just keep banging at the door.
But we'll look at doing the questions for the next meeting.
Yeah, sure.
The other one I've got, and this all ties in again, the misuse of public funds at all levels of the council. So what really disappointed me is we've asked for 2 months how much the security guards are costing, and they wouldn't tell us one thing. I put a complaint into the police for potential malfeasance at a town clerk and the chair, and Jerry Jeremy is the head of the Labour group. The police looked at it for 3 weeks and then they come back to me last week and said they're not taking it any further, they don't think they can do anything. But you know, it was strange that the way how much is it, £180 each?
Yeah. But in fact, you found that out through the newspaper.
Yeah, it was the evening.
Not by us.
Yeah, we didn't find out it was £180. Was that per? Was that
Sure,
per?
I don't know.
Per meeting, is it?
£180 per meeting, I think.
Jeff Norton on here, sorry, he said that Mark Steele took the council to court over the street lighting
Yes.
and he won.
Yeah.
So is taking the council to court over what we've been talking about in Oxford?
Yeah, you've got to. It's a bit subjective what we're on in a minute though, until they show Bob the data and what they're going on. You see, once they come out with the data and what they're, you know, potentially that's when you can move into that territory. But at the minute we've got nothing really to aim at, have we? Does that make sense? Until they show us what they're working out for the climate crisis.
Yeah, but that's the whole bone of contention, isn't it?
That's the point.
Yeah.
They're going to have to tell us eventually.
Yeah. So Mark Steele, did he take them to court to get them to? Declare.
Mark Steele knows what's in the lights, you see.
Yes.
So he's got objective proof. So when he took them and said, we're at the minute we're still in a bit of a phony war on that one.
Yeah.
You know, and nobody's suffered yet, Chris. So you know, you can't just take court action like that, and I don't want Dennis getting his checkbook out yet anyway.
And also lobby outside places like Tesco's and stuff, because you get thousands of people a day going to the
Yeah,
supermarket.
when I'm working there, mate, yeah, be alright, yeah.
Well, you could
I
be at Aldi
Move them out of the way, just
or Sainsbury's, but you've got more chance of talking to people than you
Yeah,
have
that's right.
on the roundabout.
But you
No,
need
but,
to get-
and again, I've got down here, I'm gonna get in touch with Mel, and
Yeah,
we need to be official on that.
yeah.
So I think we need to sit down, make an official phone call with all of us on it, speak to somebody and say, like, can you tell us what you've got?
Yeah.
The idea, the one that, you know, the IP,
IPCC.
yeah, we need to find out what is tangible that is driving them to do this,
Yeah.
you know, and just bring a portfolio together. And if you see the Stockport thing, he's all over it. We can take some tips from Stockport, honestly, but we'll have a look at that. Yeah, the other one I got down here, you know, which I know we've done this one quite a few, the update on sexualisation of the children, I've got down here, are you happy with that, mate? We need to watch out for the booking
Yeah.
of anything to do with
Stuff, yeah.
drag queen
Story sign in the library.
in our library, we need to keep an eye on that.
Yeah.
And then where any funds for that is coming from.
Yeah, definitely.
And the other thing, we're pushing for a meeting with county. This meeting that we're pushing for with county, I think it's going to cover all the subjects. Because initially we tried to get that
Yeah.
because they were saying county deals with education. So we wanted county down to. But I think if county comes down, we can hit them about that sexualisation, education of the kids. We can hit them with the climate crisis, and then we can hit them then with. Well, we need Breckland down as well, because they're the ones who deal with standards. But I think we need to keep pushing, Dennis. Because why did we get it over the 20-minute neighbourhood? Why did we get? How did we make that happen?
It was
Why
numbers.
can't we make it happen now?
Exactly what you said, numbers.
It's because the council meeting was overrun.
Yeah, that's it. That's it.
You got the people come out, people were contacting the council about it, and it got to the point where it couldn't be ignored anymore.
Yeah.
Because there was enough people pushing and saying, you don't want this. So they had to in the end, and they thought they were going to get a bit of a run through and, you know, a little bit of complaint and then do what they like, but
Yeah.
obviously it didn't work.
But in saying that, after that council meeting, we promised no, that's
No.
never going to happen. It's never going to happen. So the way I
Sure.
see it is this declaration of theirs
Yeah.
is another way of
Yeah.
trying to
So
sort
the
of.
trouble is, though, like you said, they're talking about things like climate change, which is at the county level, and they've dropped that down. So, I mean, really, we need to make sure we get this meeting. So,
Yeah.
I'm going to push it anyway. So.
See, my point when you're
Make
talking,
sure-
you know, we're talking about the numbers, it was the numbers originally that
Yeah.
forced that probably
Yeah.
scared them. But the problem is they've set a precedent there.
Yeah.
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 So now the precedent's being set, we should be able to tap into that, I think, without having, we did have 60 a couple of months ago. with the
Yeah.
meeting about-
Oh, yeah.
But I think that's right, though, because of what we're doing each month, coming down with the information that we've got. It's not as if we haven't got the information, well, apart from them, then they should look like, as from last year, yes, it was numbers, but the fact of the matter is, we need answers. And if the town council and Thetford can give it to them, then they have a duty for the people to have that meeting.
We can back
So-
our claim.
Yeah,
And
we've got,
back
you
yours,
know,
put your money where
of
your
course
mouth
it
is.
and that 2009 document says it all, it's no safe
Put
harbor,
our
and that's
money
what's
where
being
your mouth
put
is.
all
Or
around.
would they like to come and have a meeting with us then?
You know,
Private meeting.
Will they come and have a meeting with us?
Yeah. Well, we had a private meeting at West Suffolk Council, didn't we?
See,
You know, on radar.
And when we tried to get the information back, they'd binned it all.
yeah, literally.
See, one way of doing it potentially, and keep me straight here, Dennis, if they wouldn't let us have a meeting with county, what we could do, because they're saying they can't speak about it at the town level, let's ask for a meeting with the Breckland and county councillors that sit on the town council without the town councillors. I'm pushed for it that way, what do you
It's
think?
another way.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
I mean, next year, depending on what happens with this election this year, is the county council elections. We're going to elect 2 county councils for Thetford. And
That'll be interesting.
if one of our county councillors at this moment happens to get a promotion here and gets elected as an MP, then he will probably have to give up it, so it may even be sooner. Because there is no way he can be an MP, a county councillor, a Breckland councillor, a town councillor, and run 3 businesses. There's just no, not officially, not efficient.
But I do think we've got to keep pushing for this meeting, and even
Oh,
though
yeah.
they're applying skullduggery to stop the meeting, so let's put pressure on. Well, let's just have a meeting with our town, Breckland and county councils.
Did you
And push
notice
for it that way.
in the EDP today, front page, Norfolk County Council has broken the law by setting up 20-mile-an-hour speed limits in certain towns in Norfolk. And they've been called out. They haven't gone through the right procedures. And now that all those 20-mile-an-hour zones and all the signs they put up are illegal.
Yes.
And they're gonna have to take them down. And that's gonna cost a fortune. I noticed that wasn't included in that.
But I just think,
The county got done for it.
just to wrap all those points up then, is we need to put pressure on for that higher level meeting as best we can.
Yeah.
Because we're perceived to be saying a lot about higher level things, we need to make sure that we, which John brought up, we need to make sure we cover the lower level things as well.
Yeah, well,
Alright, John, if you can keep us straight on that, because you've got your finger on the pulse with that, so please badger us every meeting, because I've got a plan for that now, based on what you're saying.
When you get on to any other business,
Yeah.
I'd like to bring something else
Yeah.
up.
Well, that's it. I mean, has anybody else got anything on sexualisation of children or what we spoke about there?
Well, you've got just talking about this Pride Month on the 13th of July. so-
13th, yeah, whether it's still on, reports of it being cancelled, but if anyone knows anything or heard of anything.
I didn't see it in the
Guildhall
report.
Street.
I didn't see it, I looked through the
No.
report as well, and it wasn't in there, the pamphlet that Terry puts out.
11 till, no, 7 till 11.
Mm.
So that's obviously not adult time, is it? So if they've got children running around there doing this glitter fun, the photo booth thing, with drag queens having young innocent children sitting in their laps, getting ready to this, it needs pouncing up, simple.
Well, the only thing I say is if we see anything that looks like grooming, I think it's up to the Commonwealth Constable to make arrests.
Straight up,
Mm.
I mean, yeah, I didn't see anything about that.
No.
There was the Thetford and Punjab.
Yeah, I see that, yeah.
There was
yeah.
nothing about the fire.
No, so unless it has been
We'll
cancelled.
just have an event in, it could have been,
Yeah.
but, they
Yeah.
could be playing sneaky, it was just had it in Bury St Edmunds as well.
Yeah.
We've had this, and drag queens in there with young children. So,
It's a nightmare at the minute, we just got to hold the line, yeah. We just got to hold the line. Two people lead. I mean, I'm a master, I've been called a rotten thieving scout, especially down here for years.
That's just not me.
To where? Insult to insult. On Sunday, you was called a man.
That's what it was.
Well, so John wanted to bring something else up.
No, yeah, we're going to go into that. Is there anything else you lot think first that we should have covered? No, have we got it all covered at the minute?
Yeah, only to add that, I know we sit here griping about everything. They do some good stuff. Let's just add that as a caveat. The council do good stuff, and they all got there. They all went into that role with good intention. So that's for the public, really. We're not here just to dig holes. We're just
No, we've got enough potholes. for
raising
that.
important issues.
Mark, this one question. I mean, the council, they promote ethnicity, cultural events like the Punjabi thing and all, right? Are they doing anything for St. George Day?
No,
No,
it's like
And not sausage.
No, I'm just saying, I mean, this is England. It's part of your culture and heritage. And I'm not even British, I'm not even a Christian. I'm asking you this question.
Listen,
We did.
Yeah, I run a St George Day. Basically what happens, setting up with the Black Horse does a great St George's Day beer festival. and he gets all the pumping out, and he has a lot going on up there.
No, I mean from the town council.
No, but this is my point. What I've done for the last few years through the Thomas Paine is I've arranged a St George's Day dinner. So in the evening we have an official dinner with rousing speeches and Henry V and stuff like that. But I agree with you, these are all little bespoke things going on. I would like to see the council tying it together
Yes, that's what I'm saying.
as a Thetford festival.
Yes, because you can't promote one and not the other.
There's another question for the next meeting.
Yeah.
What are we gonna do?
Yeah,
What is the council gonna do?
I just want to say one more thing, because one day before St. George Day, I called them up.
Yeah.
And I asked them, are you putting up the flags?
No,
I asked them, so this is something you guys got to do, it's part of your heritage.
I'm with you there, now, I'm with you there, and I've got you, listen, you need to come to the next one, because I've got some fantastic film footage that you will love.
No, I'm talking about the council doing it, I know you guys are doing it.
I know, but in the meantime, if that doesn't happen, please come, you will enjoy it. But I agree with you, the town council, I
Yeah,
went,
they have to.
2 years ago, I was in Brandon, and Brandon Council for St George's Day had all the flags out. And when you went through town, it felt great,
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Because, okay, sorry, I just want to mention something. Ben Hubby, the chairman of Reform, said this. He said, DEI is promoting the minority heritage, and culture over and above the majority. So Reform is pushing for that, and I, coming from Malaysia, we have the same discriminative policy. That's why I'm asking you this question.
No, the thing is, because I'm involved through the Thomas Paine Hotel with the Sikhs, I get involved.
I don't like the owner.
No, I get involved with the Sikh thing, you see, through Thomas Paine Hotel, and he puts on his curry night for us.
Yeah, his curry night, his rice was horrible.
No, but what I'm saying is,
I know what you mean.
just so that the audience knows is, there's a lot of money from outside the town comes in into Thetford for that. So
for the Punjabi thing, you mean?
the Sikh festival, Punjabi Sikh festival, that is driven by outside, and the council is swept their way along with it.
Yeah.
And so it should be,
It's Punjabi Festival Essex group.
That's it.
It's
Well,
from Essex.
I'm good friends with the lad who runs it.
Yeah, I know, I get along as well. I had a turban one year.
But what I'm saying is, it is in the power of the town council to run some, and there's a lot of water under the bridge on this, I'll tell you offline. If there's no will, there's not going to be a way. We need to force it.
If you pressure them, they will do it.
Well, I'm trying to do it from a business point of view. I'm trying to get businesses together. I mean, what I want to see, I want to close this street, and I want to see horses going up down with jousting. And everybody seeing knights walking around and doing the joust. The kids are like, we bring so much money into the town. We could do so much, but...
Yeah, you could do so much. Because, sorry, I'm a travel agent, yes, you know.
I know you
are. When my client comes in from overseas, I'm telling them, don't just stick to London, please come out and see the countryside.
Yeah.
You see? Because when they come, they want to see the English heritage.
Of course they do.
They don't want here to see something else. They want to see the English heritage. They want to go for high tea. They want to have fish and chips. Something English. So.
And come to our meeting.
Santa, me and you are not going to let that English culture go, are we?
No, I'm trying to help you though. No, that's the reason why I joined Reform. That's the reason. And I thought, no, this shouldn't be happening in this country. You see, we need to stand up. If you're quiet, you're the silent majority. The more you're silent, the more you're going to let go.
I think the silent majority wakes up more every day. Me and Dennis woke a bit of it up a few years ago when it went back to sleep
So
again.
we need to have that interest, that passion. You need to have that in. Otherwise, you've got nothing to pass on to your future generation. You don't, isn't it?
No, I'm with you there. Now, we're on any other things for discussion from the public, John? You want to bring something up here?
Yeah. Bear in mind that North County Council has been brought up today or tonight, and the EDP. Norfolk County Council spent £1.2 million on special education needs at Drake School, and a further £1 million at Thetford Academy. In the EDP on Saturday, Norfolk County Council want to take £6.8 million off the SEND budget, which means people will be put out of work and possibly children won't be able to go to special needs classes. So £2.2 million spent in Thetford, and none of it looks as though it'll get used to its proper extent. So if you're talking to Norfolk County Council about various bits and pieces, I'd like that brought up as well. So I think that's wrong.
No, if we speak to Norfolk County Council, John, that's you're in. It's for the public. You know, so hold on to that. Yeah, we're just trying to get the meeting, but it's the public that go in there and ask the questions.
Just one, sorry, oh, you finished this.
No, but I see what you're saying there, yeah.
Yeah. I don't know if you followed Norfolk County Council over the last 20 years, but the amount of money that they've wasted over 20 years is unreal. £20 odd million Kingston Power Station. They've just spent £60 million doing County Hall, and a third of that's not used because people were working from home, and it would have been cheaper to move County Hall out of town and build a brand new building. So these are the things that need to be brought up as a...
The golf course. No, it's a golf
Just
course.
the,
Don't...
Was that it?
No, that was
correct.
Oh, correct then.
But you're bringing up Norfolk County Council, and these are things that I think people should know about, especially in this sense. It doesn't affect me. What affects me is the fact that kids are not going to get the education they need because they've got special needs.
No, I agree, yeah. No, if we do have a meeting, John, if we can force a meeting, that's everybody in, and you'd probably be the best one to bring that up.
Don't make it on a Tuesday.
No, no. No, but...
It needs to be a weekend, I think.
Sorry?
It needs to be a weekend.
Norfolk County Council are doing something on the weekend.
No, Janice, I'm just going to say that I know when I become a councillor, it was like a hobby. I mean, you know, I was interested in politics, and when I became a councillor with Dennis, nobody from the public came in. It was like we were all train spotters. And my point is though, John, we were all doing our own little thing. Nobody was coming in with questions. Nobody was pointing anything out. And really, we didn't really know what was going on. But what's happening now is more and more people come to meetings, more and more people are bringing up subjects, more and more people are asking questions. And as that happens and people start to open up and realise, and then, well, these councillors are just wasting our money.
I never took politics seriously until I retired. And once you retire, you can sit down and read and analyse what's being said, who's saying it, and what the definitions are. And in that time, you can get in depth into what's going on. But when you're working shift work, you're working, bringing up a family, you don't get that same input about what's going on. And I'm afraid, and the majority of people in here would agree, most people that vote are over 60.
Oh, yeah.
You know, because they know what's gone on in the past. And to get youngsters engaged in it, you know, you've got to start, you've got to have something to draw the youngsters in.
Yeah, but some youngsters are now starting to get
Just
interested.
about to say that.
Right? But a lot of them are being misdirected terribly too. So I mean, it's up to people to get them to look at all things. But there are quite a few youngsters now starting to get into it.
Well, it's good.
My 22-year-old grandson, he's probably to the right than I am. And that's
Well, it's quite interesting. Some lunatic we used to know went into the jungle. And I found out the other day is that he's got, out of all the major
Twitter
leaders, you know, he's TikTok, he's on TikTok.
Yeah, TikTok, that's
And
right.
he's got the highest level
Yeah,
of
that's what I'm
youngsters.
saying, TikTok is,
Yeah, so
that's called X.
there seems to be a lot of youngsters. Now I know my youngsters, I say
It's
youngsters,
X, isn't it? It's not, the Twitter is now called X.
I've got two, you know, I say my kids, I've got two 30-year-old lads who can't afford to buy and they can't afford to rent.
for our
And people like that now are starting to
Question.
realise and question.
But you'll be surprised how much the kids do know that. I've got a 16-year-old, and all of his mates are aware of what's going on, and they know exactly what's bullshit and what isn't.
Oh, yeah.
You know,
Will they vote?
and what, you know, going back to what you said, you retired and you started to look into politics more and everything. What we always said in 2020, the worst thing they could have done was shut us down because it gave us time to research. Yeah.
But they've got a statue of a guy across the road here, you know, who back in the 1700s was doing what you're doing now.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, he was a rebel.
You know,
He was a rebel.
Yeah, he knew
he
exactly.
done it in America
Yeah.
and he done it in France.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He was the
He's
first,
literally in a pauper's grave down Brighton.
Yeah.
first major politician to call for equal rights for everybody, including votes for women. And so he's an important man in history, you know, and he's a set for you. So we need to.
There's something in the air.
To bring the statue alive, that's what they
Yeah.
need. Yes, the Argonauts.
But is there any, because it's getting on a bit late and I know you should all, so is anybody else in the public got any questions?
Just on the other end of what John's been saying, I've witnessed that. I was up in the yard, old Golston, Friday week back, seeing my doctor. 2 handicapped killed kids, 30 years old boys. One was given an mRNA injection when he was just learning to talk. He was already badly handicapped, he's in that is now, 30 years old. And they still give him a bloody injection when he was a kid. So once he had that injection, he couldn't talk. Now my daughter's telling me they're doing away with some of the benefits he gets now, going out with him places and what his son's dead through.
That's all you need.
I don't know, so.
Yeah. And I wonder what the allocation is from our council tax in this so-called funding that isn't actually going to fund what it's meant to
Yeah.
fund.
The other thing as well is you've got members of the town council on school boards. They're all members of the school, can't remember the word. but
Governors.
Governors.
Yeah, school governors, yeah.
You've got councils that are school governors.
Trouble is now, a lot of the schools are being forced to become academies. There's very few left except that are not academies. And they chuck you off the board then and get businessmen in and everything. I was at Raleigh Infant School, I was the governor for 7 years, a school governor at Raleigh Infants. And then suddenly, Norfolk County Council said, you've got to be an academy. They got rid of every single governor, they got rid of the head teacher, and they joined Raleigh Infants onto the other part of Raleigh School and made it all an academy. And you lose all local control once you're an academy.
Well, that's when you're going into land there and water there, and they're in the air, they're going into trust and then siphoning stuff off.
Oh, yeah.
Off sea and private trust through these academies. But we need to do more research on that. But I'd like to say thanks to everybody for coming down, and we'll see you at the next town council meeting.
Thank you very much.
I was head governor of the grammar school for a year.
I hope you guys are supportive for, because like what I was telling you about the heritage and everything, we are trying to.
Thanks for watching, guys.
We are trying to protect it for your future generation.
Don't forget to like and subscribe.
It's only one of it, so.
Well, I was fighting with James Bag on